Stop for a second and listen closely, because this is not showing up in your life by chance. If these words found you today, there is a reason. Something inside you has been restless for a long time. You felt it in quiet moments. You felt it at night. You felt it when the world got loud and your mind tried to move on, but your heart would not let go. And here is the part you need to hear first. You are not making this up. You are not weak for feeling this deeply. You are not foolish for sensing that one connection in your life carried a weight that ordinary connections never carry. Stay with me, because the truth behind that feeling may change the way you see everything. What if the ache was never there to break you, but to wake you up? What if the silence, the distance, the strange pull, and the moments you cannot explain are all part of something your soul understood long before your mind found the words? And if that is true, then what comes next matters more than ever, because this is where confusion begins to turn into clarity. You did not invent this feeling. You did not sit down one day and decide to carry this kind of emotional gravity in your chest. It rose on its own. It returned when you tried to dismiss it. It followed you through busy days, distracted nights, forced smiles, and long periods of silence that should have erased everything by now, yet somehow did not. That is what makes this different. Ordinary attraction fades when distance grows. Passing interest weakens when life becomes complicated. But this stayed, quietly, firmly, almost like something inside you kept tapping on the same locked door, asking you not to forget what your deeper self already knew. You may have called it overthinking. You may have blamed timing, loneliness, or memory. Still, the feeling remained. That matters, because some experiences do not leave when logic tells them to leave. Some bonds do not obey the usual rules. They move underneath thought. They sit below explanation. And the more you tried to reason your way out of it, the more obvious it became that this was not just a passing emotion. It was a signal, a real one, not noise, not fantasy, a signal asking you to stop running from what your spirit keeps recognizing. There are people who enter your life and leave a memory. Then there are people who enter your life and awaken a part of you that had been asleep for years. That is the difference. This connection did not only make you feel wanted, excited, or emotional. It made you aware. It made you notice parts of yourself you had ignored. It exposed your fear, your longing, your strength, your wounds, your hope, and even your capacity to love in a way that felt almost too big to carry. That is why it shook you. Not because it was meant to destroy your peace, but because it was meant to reveal what was hidden beneath your habits and defenses. And when a bond acts like a mirror, it can be uncomfortable before it becomes healing. It can stir your old pain while also calling you into a new version of yourself. So if you have been wondering why this one person still echoes through your inner world even after time, silence, or distance, maybe it is because this meeting was never shallow. Maybe it touched a layer of you that ordinary life never touches. And once that layer wakes up, you cannot go back to sleep so easily. That is why this still feels unfinished. What makes this even harder is the silence, the waiting, the not knowing, the long spaces where nothing seems to happen on the outside while everything keeps moving on the inside. But hear this clearly. Silence is not always emptiness. Sometimes silence is pressure. Sometimes silence is resistance. Sometimes silence is the place where two people are being changed in ways they cannot yet explain. You may look at the distance and think it means the feeling was one-sided, or that the moment passed, or that life simply pulled you in different directions. But not every pause is a loss. Some pauses are preparation. Some separations happen because neither person could hold the full truth of the connection at the moment it arrived. The timing may have been real, but the readiness was not, and that difference changes everything. Stay with this part, because it matters. A powerful bond does not only bring love to the surface. It also brings fear, pride, avoidance, insecurity, and every hidden wound that could damage the bond if left untouched. So the pause is not always punishment. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes life creates distance so both people are forced to grow strong enough to meet again without turning love into pain. That is why your task was never to sit still and suffer while hoping for a miracle. Your task was transformation. Quiet, difficult, honest transformation. The distance pushed you inward for a reason. It made you face the fear of being left. It made you face the part of you that wanted reassurance every moment. It made you face the old belief that love must be chased, forced, or constantly proven. And while that process hurt, it also built something in you. It built self-respect. It built emotional depth. It built the ability to stand in your own life without collapsing just because someone else became quiet. That growth is not separate from the story. It is the story, because a real connection should never become a cage. It should not turn into obsession, self-loss, or emotional begging. It should call both people into wholeness. And if that wholeness was missing before, then the distance had work to do. Hard work. Necessary work. This is the part many people miss. They think the goal is simply reunion. But the deeper goal is becoming the version of yourself who can receive love without fear controlling every move. That version of you is being built right now, and nothing about that work is wasted. And while you have been changing, the other person has not been standing still in some empty, untouched place. Their silence may look simple from the outside, but inner battles rarely announce themselves. A person can appear distant while carrying a storm no one else sees. They can avoid what they feel, deny what they know, hide behind pride, timing, distractions, or excuses, and still be deeply affected in ways they cannot control. What looks like indifference is often conflict. What looks like forgetting is sometimes suppression. What looks like calm is sometimes a war between truth and ego. And ego always tries to survive by pretending nothing happened, nothing mattered, nothing changed. But deep truth does not disappear just because it is ignored. It grows in the dark. It returns in memory. It shows up in dreams, in strange moments, in songs, in repeated thoughts, in that sudden heaviness that arrives for no clear reason. This is why people who run from real feeling often become the most haunted by it, because what they refuse to face outside of themselves begins waiting for them inside. And eventually the pressure builds. Eventually the distance stops feeling safe. Eventually the pain of staying away becomes heavier than the fear of returning. When that happens, everything begins to shift. So, if you have felt that a turning point is coming, do not dismiss that so quickly. Sometimes your deeper self senses movement before visible proof arrives. Sometimes clarity forms beneath the surface long before the world gives you evidence. But this next part is important. The true shift will not feel like a tiny mixed signal that leaves you more confused than before. It will not be another crumb that keeps you trapped in guessing games. When real readiness arrives, it becomes clear, direct, honest. It has weight. It carries intention. It does not speak in half-hearted gestures that vanish the next day. It does not ask you to shrink, chase, decode, or prove your worth. Real movement has a different energy. It comes with humility. It comes with truth. It comes with the breaking down of old defenses. And because of that, the moment you have been sensing may not arrive as fantasy. It may arrive as honesty you can actually feel. That is why you must not waste your strength trying to control the script. Do not force the timing. Do not build the whole scene in your mind and then suffer because reality did not follow your version. Let the next chapter reveal itself. What is meant to be real will not need endless confusion to survive. Still, there is something you must understand about signs. Not every sign is meant to trap you in magical thinking. Some signs are simply reminders to come back to yourself, to listen more carefully, to notice what your spirit has been trying to say beneath the panic. Maybe it is a repeating number. Maybe it is a dream that returns with unusual force. Maybe it is a song that appears at exact moments when you feel close to giving up. Maybe it is a memory that arrives with such precision it feels placed there. These things matter less as predictions and more as mirrors. They show you what keeps living inside you. They show you where your attention naturally returns. But there is a difference between a sign that gives peace and a sign that feeds fear. Peace opens the heart without making you desperate. Fear creates obsession, tension, and the urge to control. Learn that difference, because it will protect you. Your intuition is quieter than panic, but deeper. It does not scream. It knows. It settles. It points. And if you have been receiving the same inner message again and again, maybe the message is not "wait in pain." Maybe the message is "become ready." That is a very different path, and it changes how you carry this story from this moment forward. Being ready does not mean sitting by the door of your life hoping someone finally chooses you. Being ready means becoming so clear, so grounded, and so whole within yourself that if love returns, it finds you standing in your power rather than lying in your fear. This matters more than most people realize, because if the same insecurities are still ruling you, then even a beautiful return can repeat the old cycle. The old triggers come back. The same wounds reopen. The same fear rewrites the future before it has a chance to breathe. That is why letting go of bitterness is not weakness. It is wisdom. Releasing resentment is not pretending nothing hurt. It is refusing to let pain become your identity. Forgiveness does not erase what happened. It frees you from dragging yesterday into every tomorrow. And yes, that includes forgiving silence, avoidance, confusion, and all the moments that made you question your own worth. Not for their comfort, for your freedom. Because a heart filled with old poison cannot fully receive new peace. This is where many people lose the gift at the edge of receiving it. They hold on to the wound so tightly that when life tries to place something better in their hands, there is no room left to hold it. So breathe here, slow down. Let this settle deeper than your thoughts. You are not being asked to chase. You are not being asked to prove. You are not being asked to carry the entire fate of this connection on your back. You are being asked to trust what has been growing in you through every hard season, the stronger version of you, the calmer version, the wiser version, the version that can feel deeply without collapsing, the version that no longer mistakes chaos for love. That is the real victory. And strangely, when you reach that state, you stop relating to the story from desperation. You begin relating to it from peace, from quiet certainty, from the understanding that what is truly for you will arrive without asking you to betray yourself. This is not passivity, it is alignment, it is inner readiness. It is the moment your energy stops begging life for answers and starts becoming the answer. And when that shift happens inside you, the whole atmosphere changes. You speak differently, you choose differently, you love differently. You no longer fear silence in the same way because your center is no longer living in someone else's hands. That is the kind of change that prepares you for something lasting. There may also be a final lesson hidden in all of this, and it is one most people resist until they are forced to learn it. Real love does not only ask, "Can you feel this?" It also asks, "Can you hold this?" Feeling is easy compared to holding. Feeling can happen in a moment. Holding requires maturity. It requires patience. It requires healed patterns, honest communication, emotional steadiness, and the courage to show up without masks. That is why intense connection alone is never the whole story. Intensity can begin a chapter, but only growth can sustain it. So if life delayed what your heart wanted, maybe it was because the foundation was still being built. Maybe what felt like rejection was actually redirection. Maybe what felt like abandonment was a season of shaping. And maybe what felt like an unbearable pause was the hidden work needed to turn a fragile bond into something capable of surviving reality. Do not skip over that truth. It may be the key to everything. Because when two people meet again after real inner change, they do not return as the same frightened versions who first collided. They return with new eyes, new boundaries, new honesty, new depth. That changes the outcome. And now you may be closer than you think to the moment when uncertainty begins to break. Not because time alone fixes anything, but because readiness changes what time can reveal. There comes a point when truth can no longer be pushed down. There comes a point when the mask grows too heavy. There comes a point when one honest step becomes easier than another month of pretending. If that moment is approaching, it will not need you to force it into existence. What needs to arrive will arrive through its own weight. Your role is simpler now, but not easy. Protect your peace. Keep your heart open without letting fear take over. Do not run backward into old stories. Do not let impatience steal the wisdom you paid so much to gain. And most of all, do not doubt the person you have become through this. That is the true gift. Whether this connection returns tomorrow, later, or in a way you never expected, you are no longer who you were when the silence first began. You are stronger now, clearer now, more honest with yourself now, and that change is not small. Stay with that, really stay with it, because the next part of your story will be shaped less by your panic and more by your peace. So if you needed a sign today, let this be the sign. Stop calling your deep knowing madness. Stop treating your inner truth like a problem that must be argued away. Listen to what remains after the noise fades. Listen to what keeps returning with calm strength instead of panic. Listen to the quiet place in you that already knows the difference between illusion and meaning. If this bond was placed in your life to awaken, teach, and transform you, then honor that by becoming everything the lesson asked you to become. Let the distance refine you, not ruin you. Let the silence deepen you, not define you. Let the waiting mature you, not harden you. And if a return is part of what is being prepared, it will come with a new energy, a cleaner truth, and a clearer heart than before. Until then, live in a way that makes you ready to receive something real. Keep your peace. Keep your dignity. Keep your heart awake. Because what belongs in your life will not need endless force to enter it. And when the next chapter opens, you will not have to wonder. You will feel the difference. You will know. And this time, you will be strong enough to hold it.